Hey y'all, hey, this is your girl Megan from the Hood Astro Queen, and today I will be giving you guys some self-care tips based on your moon sign. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Now, when it comes to Aries moons, okay, these are people who need regular exercise and physical activity to control and channel a lot of the excess energy that they may have going on. So these are people where if they are not stimulated physically, it's very easy for it to manifest in being just outwardly, I would say, confrontational, or just having a very short temper with people. You know, their fuse can get really short. They can get really frustrated. And there is this desire to, move it around. But typically, they tend to move it around in very non-productive or even self-destructive or outwardly destructive ways if they're not really intentional about how they get some of that off. So definitely do things like go for a jog, go for a run, invest in an exercise bike, right? Do some jumping jacks, pop in a workout video. And actually, if you want to get into fighting, right, boxing, taking boxing classes and all that, that would be helpful. Anything that can help you get out a lot of that aggression and, once again, just a lot of that high strung energy that tends to misfire, right, when you aren't utilizing it. Pour yourself into those type of activities, even like sports, right? Things that help you tap into that competitive nature could be really good. Also, there is a strong need to mitigate the tendency to eat when you're angry, as a lot of Aries moons can experience like indigestion, heartburn, so they also may want to focus on their gut health, very similar to Virgo moon. Another really good form of self-care for Aries moons is to do something for yourself. Okay, and that sounds like that could just be like common knowledge. And it actually is kind of second nature for Aries moons. But, if you really want to relish in that mode of self-care and really just get back to who you are as a person at your core, taking the time just to do a little something for yourself could always be nice. Also, starting up a new venture, okay? Whether it is taking on a new project or coming up with like a new idea of sorts, all of these things can do wonders in terms of self-care for Aries moons. Now, when it comes to Taurus moons, being in nature, gardening, surrounding yourself with beautiful scenery could always do the trick. Okay? These are also people where, they may also want to look into adding plants to the home, and they love self-pampering. So when we think of like self-care in general, Taurus moons are those individuals who could be very indulgent in those kind of things. So, treating yourselves to a spa retreat, making sure you take all of these like luxurious baths with herbs and oils and potions and fruit chopped up in the middle, all of that good stuff. That's very much like a means of self-care for a Taurus moon, right? These are also people who could really enjoy cooking. So that tends to be another really big thing that they do whenever it's time to center oneself and just get back to the basics and doing things that make you feel good, right? Specifically baking. Now, these are also people who could collect crystals, or once again, be into a lot of those herbs and oils. And, these are people who could enjoy coming up with their own potions and so on and so forth. And another really good method or way to ensure that you're really tapping into taking care of yourself, actively practicing self-care, is working on your self-esteem and your standards. Very, very important for Taurus moons. Gemini moons stimulate your minds. So reading, writing is always good. Sharing your ideas with others. Pick up the phone and call your bestie and have a long convo about nothing in particular. Okay? These are also people who can benefit from Just hopping in the car and taking a ride, going on a road trip, visiting relatives. Little things that kind of keep you busy, things that keep your mind engaged are very important when it comes to practicing self-care for Gemini moons. Maybe even listen to a podcast or something. Cancer moons, kicking it at home with your sweatpants, hair tied, chilling with no makeup on, like Drake would say, which ironically enough, he is a Cancer moon himself, so he would know better than anyone else, right? This is a really great form of self-care for our Cancer moons. These are people who feel the most comfortable at home, or at the very least, who like to bring that element of home wherever they go. It's all about comfort with these people. So when it comes to tapping into things that could really help and enhance your self-care routines, taking some time to do absolutely nothing but be home, but be wherever you deem to be the most comfortable is very important. Doing the things that make you feel comfortable, whether it's being around family, but also these are people who can really enjoy music as well. And very similar to Taurus moons, Cancer moons do derive a lot of comfort from cooking, but also eating. So, of course, as long as it isn't done in excess, right? These could definitely be ways to, care for yourself. Indulge a little bit. Cook your favorite meal. And when we talk about Cancer moons, we're talking about like comfort foods. So that big old bowl of mac and cheese, you know what I'm saying, that you normally don't really indulge in, but it's like, whatever. Treat yourself. But also facing a fear, okay? Doing some inner work, learning how to face your fears, and even acknowledging your fears, to be honest, is a really big means of practicing self-care for Cancer moons. Leo moons, create something. Creative expression is the cornerstone of your existence. So these are people, when it comes to self-care, nothing says I love me like having some fun, okay? Involve yourself in some sort of recreational activity. Very similar to Aries moons, these people could gravitate towards sports. They could also just be the types to just want to get out, let their hair down, party, vibe with others, going to concerts, okay? But they could also be extremely artistic. So these are people who, may also want to either listen to music, make music. A lot of these people can be really good actors or have some type of like set of skills, or whether it's like directing a movie like with their phone or putting together some type of presentation, something that really appeases and brings forth that level of creativity that they have in them. That is awesome when it comes to self-care. Okay. They could also even really like the idea of being around children, or even nurturing the innocent child that lives within you. So doing things, once again, that really just connect you to your essence, which is doing the things that you love, doing the things that are fun, and just being in the moment, which is actually a lot harder than it sounds, especially for adults. Okay. But also with Leo moons, having sex could be a really big way to relieve stress, yes, but also to get back in tune with that mode of self-care. Not to mention, sex can be very fun. It can be fun. Virgo moons, decluttering your mind and your space. All right. So when all else fails, make sure you rearrange your surroundings to match whatever it is that you're feeling. As above, so below. And that tends to be how it works with most people. Whatever is going on around you is a direct reflection of what's going on inside of you. And when it comes to Virgo moons, if they are surrounded by a lot of clutter, or if it's just been a minute since they've been able to put things where they need to go and kind of tidy up, they can, malfunction. And every now and then, it's just time to switch up the way things are. You know how in Asian cultures, certain cultures, feng shui is really big, which, if I'm not mistaken, is just the concept that everything, there's like a spiritual kind of nature to where all of your furniture is placed in the house. And it's not uncommon for these people to literally rearrange their furniture completely just to change the energy or the feng shui of the household. Virgos could do this, and this could bring Virgo a lot of satisfaction, especially if we're talking about like Virgo moons, okay? But also, very similar to Gemini moons, writing, okay? Specifically, even journaling your emotions and what's going on within you, and just your day-to-day life could be really therapeutic and a really good form of self-care for Virgo moons. Also, meditation. These are one of the sign placements that benefit the most from meditation, and practicing mindfulness, okay? And because Virgo moons do need order, structure, and routine, once again, cleaning, organizing, doing chores around the house are really good. Fine-tuning your rituals, so to speak, because that's exactly what routines are, rituals. Also, you guys could benefit from buying large dry erase boards to help you plan out your day, which kind of goes back into the same vein of journaling. But very similar to Aries moons, Virgo moons could also benefit from exercising to channel a lot of that nervous energy as well. These are people who are more so into things like kickboxing and MMA fighting. Try to focus on the type of activities that allow you to integrate your entire body. Because for these people, okay, they'll notice that when they are taking good care of their health, this even includes eating, okay, eating well, being mindful of what you put into your body, that mentally they're able to function a lot more clearly. So something as simple as just making sure you're eating healthy foods, drinking enough water, and exercising regularly. Of course, these are generic things that most people can benefit from, but when it comes to Virgo moon specifically, okay, they can have a very profound impact on these people. Also, okay, maybe go on a cleanse, right? Take a health challenge. Challenge yourself to cook home-cooked healthy meals, nourishing meals. These are also people who can benefit from getting a pet, as well as taking on DIY projects around the house, okay? Maybe also take up a new hobby. All these things are really good forms of self-care for Virgo moons. Libra moons, spend quality time with the ones you love, friends, significant others, so on and so forth. These are also people who could really enjoy environments where they're able to people watch or socialize. Very similar to Gemini moons. Engagement, active engagement with other people, stimulating engagement with other people is often very much needed. A lot of these people can get it by way of social media, but I don't know if I would recommend using social media as a form of self-care. Libra moons, very similar to some of these other moon placements, can also really benefit from expressing themselves in an artistic way, okay? Even things like dance, writing poems, but also retail therapy, okay? Could be really good for Libra moons, as well as Taurus moons, I also meant to mention. Of course, once again, in moderation, okay? So, go buy that candle you've always been eyeing, okay? It's all right if you got the coin. Go ahead and splurge just a little bit and get that outfit that you've been looking at for a minute. Scorpio moons, engage in things that are meaningful to you, okay? Schedule an appointment with your counselor, okay? Scorpio moons, although, of course, once again, just about everybody can benefit from therapy, professional therapy. However, Scorpio moons are one of those sign placements where therapy is just like really, really important and can have a very profound impact on them, especially if they are very receptive to it. Healing resentment issues and unpacking a lot of those very dense emotions that a lot of them tend to have is very much needed. Although I will say with a lot of Scorpio moons, they can be very hesitant to put themselves in a position of vulnerability and to even be open and receptive to do something like that. So this may be challenging, but once again, this is a form of self-care that can definitely pay off in the long run. Even if that means getting into psychology yourself. A lot of Scorpio moons actually have a very strong interest in psychology and even the occult for this very reason. Okay, they want to learn more about themselves, even when it comes to astrology and things like that, why they do what they do and, how to help figure themselves out a little bit better. Also, indulge in things that satisfy your desire to probe and research. So these are people who can start doing one thing and then, look up other things and kind of just get lost in this world of like researching and investigating things. And this is why they tend to really like crime shows, and they tend to just make really good detectives in real life. So even if it's something as simple as watching your favorite murder show, watch the first 48. Read a mystery novel. But also sex and masturbation tend to be really good forms of self-care for Scorpio moons. A lot of times this ties back into that need for them to like release a lot of the tension, right, that they could have built up within them. So hey, I ain't judging. Do what you do. Sagittarius moons. Travel. Although obviously during this time of the Rona, okay, your ability to travel, especially long distances, may be kind of impaired, but do things that still give you that element of being able to be free. So even if that means go outside, go on a hike, go on an adventure, try something new, okay? If you can, get up and go somewhere, go visit people, okay? Or scale it back some and just go to your favorite takeout spot. Go look up something about a foreign culture, right? A really good way to do this is even read a book that takes you somewhere else, because that's what they say, okay? Reading Rainbow says you can be anything. You can go wherever you want to go. Take a look. It's in a book, Reading Rainbow. Those might not be the exact lyrics, but they were saying something like that. You know what I mean? Capricorn moons. Spend time alone. Okay? Your solitude is golden. So if you are somebody who just constantly has a lot of stuff going on, as a Capricorn moon, the best way to practice self-care is to take some much needed time to yourself. Work on something, very similar to Virgo moons. And I meant to mention this. Virgo moons like to be productive. Okay, being productive is a form of self-care for a Virgo moon, as long as you don't overdo it. So Capricorns kind of have the same thing going on. So if these people work, they could definitely be the type to, their relaxation is going to be found within them doing their jobs or finding something to work on. And although, once again, I don't know if I would recommend working as a form of self-care, but I mean, hey, if it takes you to your happy space, then why not? But also take some time to go back down memory lane. These people can collect a lot of memorabilia, go through old photographs, reach out to old people or people from your past, as long as the relationship wasn't like toxic or nothing like that, or nothing crazy happened. Take some time to reconnect with people that you used to know. Also, you could benefit from, reducing the clutter in your home as well. So also very similar to Virgo in that regard. Minimizing a lot of the things you have around you could definitely be very helpful when it comes to that Capricorn moon energy. Get rid of the things you don't need. Pack light. And this is another sign that I would definitely strongly advise some sort of therapy for, just because they are prone, especially if they spend a little bit too much time alone, to depression and things like that. Okay? Pisces moons. Diving into your creativity. Okay? Very similar to some of these other moon placements. So diving into your creativity, doing something that's just very creative. Also, watching movies. Pisces moons love movies. So snuggling up with your drinky drink, watching whatever Netflix movie you want to watch could be a really underrated form of self-care for the Pisces moon individual. Also, nothing tops rest and relaxation. Okay, Pisces moons can sometimes overdo this and can have a bit of a lazy streak, but once again, if you're just really trying to connect with yourself, resting, sometimes you just gotta sit back and do nothing, man. You gotta do nothing. So, that's a really good form of self-care for Pisces moons. Also very similar to Cancer moons, listening to your favorite music, maybe even making your favorite music if that's what you're into. Some of these people can be into photography. Once again, this ties back into really flexing that creativity muscle. But it's also important to do things that ground you as well. So very similar to Virgo moons, I would definitely suggest meditation, maybe even yoga, right? Practicing mindfulness, writing down the things that you're grateful for. All of these things could be very beneficial. And then finally, Aquarius moons, because I went out of order and skipped Aquarius, okay? For Aquarius moons, self-care is going to look like you tapping into your own individuality, okay? Being extremely authentic to yourself. But you could even say this for Aries moons. That is very important. Doing things that are going to make you feel good, regardless of how, they may seem to other people. Leaning into your ability to be comfortable with yourself, even if that means you're going to be misunderstood by other people, is very important. Now, also, these are people who can really fancy making their lives convenient. Okay, so it's not uncommon for a lot of Aquarius moons to have things around the house, like lots of gadgets and electronics and things that, once again, just make your everyday existence a lot easier. So when it comes to practicing self-care, ain't nothing wrong with buying that new computer, okay? Investing in that new cell phone or whatever that new gadget or electronic is. These are also people who can benefit from blogging and vlogging, although Gemini and Virgo can too. Or even do things that make you feel connected to your friends, okay? So very similar to Gemini moons, maybe join a group chat, okay? Once again, I would not advise using social media per se as a form of self-care, but, anything that could just help you feel like you're a part of a larger collective could be really important for Aquarius moons. Aquarius moons could also afford to experiment with their eating habits as well. So challenge yourself to adhere to, a way of eating that may not be accustomed to you, as long as it's like healthy and reasonable, right? But, challenge yourself in that regard. And yeah, this concludes my video on tips for self-care based on your moon signs. Feel free to drop in the comment section and let me know how you feel, if you've tried any of these things, and if you have any more additional recommendations. And yeah, make sure you practice unconditional self-care and self-love so that you can love others. And until the next video, I holla. Bye.